Good day, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of the HJC podcast. I'm Saturday's writer and blog admin Ryan, and joining me today is Monday's writer Sean. How's it going, Sean?
I think this should be now called the HJC podcast with Brian, Sean, and others.
Others. That others is Brendan, friend of the show. How's it going, Brendan?
Pretty good.
Good. And of course, the big news. What else are we supposed to talk about today? But the Winter Classic jerseys were revealed this week, mostly to positive reviews. So we'll get into that. We'll get into each team separately. We'll figure out which team has the best jersey, and this will just be a fun-filled podcast full of Winter Classic jersey talk. And you, the listener, can get in on the conversation too. We'd love to hear opinions on what you guys thought of the jerseys. Leave comments. And send us an email. Do whatever you got to do to get involved in the conversation. We love to hear from the readers, and it helps give us content. And then, of course, we can give feedback. So let's dive right into it. Buffalo revealed their jersey first. So let's start with them. Most exciting thing for me was that we got to see a new style collar from Adidas. And we're not going to be hemmed down by the same style collar that every team started out with. Sean, maybe some things that you liked that you saw from Buffalo's Winter Classic jersey.
There's a lot to like about this jersey. I like the striping pattern that they've gone with here, because while it's not directly what their white jerseys were from 1970 to 96, it's probably what it should have been, to be honest with you. For those who have remember the first or second edge alternate, it's very similar to the white version of that striping, and I mean, people love that. The collar design, I think, is quite interesting, and while it does look a little cut off near the bottom, the material it's made out of looks really nice, and that was actually one of my complaints about the Reebok, that sort of vintage collar style, was that material was very stretchy, and if you put it on a hanger wrong, it would tend to get stretched out and look frayed. So I wonder if this is a correction of that, and they made this material tighter, so that way when it stretches out from being worn, it looks not quite as used as the other one does.
And it also only appears on the front of the collar too. Adidas with their template cuts it off as it heads to the back. So that's not a deal breaker for me. I actually thought it was okay. So that'll be
on the bright side. On the bright side, it's not like it's white on the front and blue on the back or something.
Yeah.
It's all one
absolutely.
color.
Solid
so even
blue.
though it cuts off, it's pretty subtle.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't taken aback by it at all. It wasn't terrible. So I really enjoyed the Sabres Winter Classic jersey. What are some high points for you, Brendan?
Now, honestly, I was expecting a design very similar to this for a long time, especially because of the hat that surfaced long before the jersey was unveiled. And many people created concepts that pretty much looked exactly like these jerseys, and none of them ever looked vintage enough, even though it looked almost exactly like this. But somehow, as soon as this one was unveiled, it just looks incredible. I'm actually wearing my Buffalo 40th anniversary alternate jersey that was mentioned before, and it's, like Sean said, it's pretty much the white version of that, and it's great. I love the updated logo too, the slightly updated buffalo inside the logo.
Yeah,
and the swords actually, but
I didn't realize that they had cleaned it up. I think it was Dylan N on Twitter who pointed out that they had actually cleaned up the Sabres logo.
I think it might be a bit of foreshadowing for what's to come in the near future.
Absolutely. I could definitely see a blue version of this, or this jersey becoming the alternate next season and slowly finding its way to full-time set, which I'm not someone who promotes that. I think a Winter Classic jersey should stay a Winter Classic jersey, but absolutely, I'd be fully on board with this Buffalo jersey and another one, a blue one, coming on as a full-time set at some point. Sean, maybe there was...
Or if not this, something more similar to their original uniforms, or even just something completely brand new that's not navy blue.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean, maybe something that you saw from the jersey that you weren't really a fan of.
The single color numbers I'm not particularly a fan of, and they're based in Buffalo history. They seem to be based on the look that they wore in the 70s when they played the Soviet wings. and those were very specific numbers worn for that game. I get what they're going for, and for one time, this works. But ideally, you'd want that classic Buffalo font with the big, thick, rounded letters on the name bar, something like that full time. On top of that, that beautiful shoulder patch. It would be amazing to see that on the front of a jersey. If not, if this is what Buffalo wants to go with the future, then I want to see that Sabres on the inside of the yellow Buffalo as an alternate jersey logo, primary right on the front, something that we can see 10, 15 times a year.
Yeah, it's a solid logo. In my opinion, the best of any of the new logos that we saw for the Winter Classic. Brendan, maybe something you saw from the Sabres jersey that you weren't a fan of.
Now, as opposed to Sean, I'm actually a big fan of the solid color numbers. Not all the time, but whenever they work, I really love them. And I think this is one of the cases that they work. So it's kind of hard for me to find something that I don't like about it. I think I'd have to probably nitpick and say the collar, the half cut off collar. And again, as I mentioned, it really just blends in. It's hard to notice. So I really think I have to nitpick to find something that I don't like about this set.
Which is a good thing. That's an excellent thing because, I mean,
exactly.
It's easy to pick on a jersey, but when a solid jersey like this comes out and you're having a hard time finding something that you don't like about it, that's an excellent offering from Adidas. I personally, at this point, didn't think they had it in them, but they proved me wrong. I was really thrilled with this jersey. As we talked about, that Buffalo shoulder patch is fantastic. If there's one thing that I didn't like about the jersey, and it's just part of the theme of the game, is the NY at the bottom of the main crest. It's just useless, although the theme of the game is New York, and it's a Sabres home game, even though they're playing in New York City, which is another deal altogether. But yeah, overall, a great jersey. I rated it 9.5 out of 10. Nearly perfect. Hard to get a perfect score. But I just think this is a fantastic jersey. I'm a fan of the solid one-color numbers. I think the yoke, even though it's not outlined in yellow, looks fantastic. The logos are great. The striping is fantastic. And I just think they really hit a home run here. Sean, how would you grade this jersey?
I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. I feel like, as the yellow yoke outline, I really like that thick 80s thing that they had, and that'd be nice to see. I feel like this is it's a very safe jersey. There's nothing wrong with being safe. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if they had just taken a little more of a unique design choice, they could get a perfect 10 from me. But Buffalo fans have been disappointed design-wise since probably 2006. And this is the closest thing since the 40th anniversary jersey that I think they have to a universally liked Buffalo jersey.
Brendan, overall grade of this jersey?
I'm going to have to side with you, Ryan, and go with 9.5, if not a little bit higher. I mean, I wouldn't rate it a perfect 10 because we all had some nitpicks, and I agree more with Ryan's than with Sean's nitpick, and then there was my own, of course. So it's not completely perfect, but it's really close to being there. So 9.5, if not 9.75.
And that's excellent news. I mean, there's been outdoor jerseys that have come out over the last few years. I don't think they've been as widely enjoyed as this year's Winter Classic jerseys have. So I was really happy about that. The team that they're facing, the New York Rangers, let's go on to their jerseys. Again, I would say another fantastic offering here. I love the color of the jerseys. The big stripes, white Rangers running down the front. I'm really a fan of the NY patch being on the front of the jersey rather than on the shoulders. And, of course, the assistants and the captain will receive an A and a C in that shield rather than an NY for all the other players. Sean, just a quick review of what you liked about this jersey.
This is the nicest Adidas jersey I've seen so far, if not one of the nicest hockey jerseys I've seen in a couple seasons. They fooled us with that NY logo. I think that we all thought this was going to be a very plain shoulder patch, but no, they worked it perfectly. It's nice to see the Rangers do the yoke stripe on a dark jersey. They played it safe. We know what they're inspired by, but at the same time, they took a few chances on this, and it's worked out for them. Like, I really like this jersey.
Yeah. Brendan, some positives about this jersey?
Well, it's not much of a departure from their normal set, but I think it's definitely enough to both call back to history well while bringing something new to the table. the plain white script works really well, especially because, I mean, it is a direct callback. And so do the shoulder stripes. And I really do like the unique treatment of that NY patch. And I think the darker blue actually helps give the other colors a little bit more pop than if it would have been a brighter blue.
I was worried about both teams wearing blue, but it's enough difference in the two blues that I don't think they're gonna mash together. And I forgot in my personal review to mention that the stripes on the shoulder yokes, that's probably my favorite feature of the jersey. If you did have to come up with a negative on this one, Sean, what would it be?
Both the negatives I have for this jersey have to do with the sort of the Adidas template, and that is the curved back stripe. The hem stripe curves on the back, and there is nothing you could do to control that. But that's just the way it is, and it kind of looks weird. The other thing is that the name or the quote unquote logo, the diagonal script, is not centered. And it'll look more natural on the ice, but when the jersey's just sitting there, it's very hard for me to focus on it when the N is sitting under the NHL shield instead of the G, which I think a lot of us are used to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably just one of those things that they had to do because it would look weird on the ice if they didn't do it. You know, Brendan, a drawback from this jersey if you had to choose one.
Say real quick too, I may be completely wrong on this, but I feel like I saw somewhere someone mentioned the off-center logo was another callback to history. I honestly could be completely wrong. I don't remember this very clearly. But if it is, I think that's a cool touch. I will agree that it is a little bit off-putting just looking at it flat. But if I had to come up with a different negative, I think it would be the placement of that NY patch. After looking at some of the pictures from the unveiling, it looks like it's cluttering up the area a little bit. I would probably just shrink it a little bit if I had to change it because I still really like what they did with it. It's just slightly either too big or slightly too prominent, and it kind of clutters up the area or distracts the eye a little bit.
I actually like what they've done with the patch. When I first saw it and I saw the patch there, I was thinking, oh, well, they're going to have to put the A's and the C someplace different for the captains. But then I took a look at Zuccarello was a model for the jersey, and there was the A right in the shield, and I thought, wow, that's a really cool feature. For me, the one drawback here is that Adidas collar. It's so thick and white on this Rangers jersey. What I would have liked to have seen them do is the same thing the Leafs did with the Arenas jersey and just add blue trim on the top. It thins out that white collar a little bit and makes it look more reasonable rather than that just giant gaping white collar staring right at us. So overall grade, I think I like the Sabres one better here, but this Rangers jersey is fantastic. I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. Sean?
I gave it a perfect 10 on the post today. I'm going to stick with that. I only ever gave him 2 jerseys ever that great, so this is the 3rd jersey. I'm going to give it a perfect 10. The one thing about the collar I will say, if you look at photos of the 1926 Rangers, their collar was bigger than that. It's quite jarring. It's very rare you get a blend of this vintage and modern look going, and it reminds me a lot of what Philly tried to do in 2012 in that alternate, but they took the extra step to add that patch full time to the jersey. And I think this is something I want to see the Rangers keep as an alternate.
Very good. Brendan, your overall grade of this jersey?
I'm going to have to side with you again, Ryan, and say 9. I like Buffalo's a little bit better, but this is still an amazing jersey. So this is going to be a great-looking game.
Absolutely, it's going to be a great-looking game. Really looking forward to it. The jerseys breathed some new life into this game for me. Kind of excited for it now. I'll make a point of actually watching it. So that was our Winter Classic jersey review. It doesn't end there, though. Listeners, you guys can get in on the conversation. We'd love to hear some opinions, especially opinions that differ from ours. It's always good to hear that and engage in the conversation. So you want to get involved in the conversation, leave some comments, both on the blog or the YouTube channel. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Okay, so now we are going to play our new game, HJC Guess Who. This is very similar to the board game that you may have played called Guess Who. going forward, we'd really love the listeners to get involved and be a contestant on this game for a chance to win a free HJC sticker. Today's is just going to be a demonstration between Sean and Brendan. They are going to play this game, but hopefully next week we get a reader or a listener on, and they'll have a chance to win an HJC sticker. So Sean and Brendan have each chosen a jersey. Nobody knows the jerseys. They don't know each other's jersey. They are limited to 10 questions, and they will ask back and forth. Brendan, you got a rundown of the rules. Why don't you go ahead and let us know?
Okay, so for the sake of this game, we will basically be dividing all of the teams, past and present in the NHL, into 3 conferences. The current East and West Conference, and a conference that is all of the defunct teams. Small jerseys that are just basically exactly the same, like same striping pattern with a different number font or number outline. Those will be considered the same. And alternates and primary sets are considered as separate jerseys. So if you're guessing for, let's just say, the Penguins jersey that's currently their home, aside from the Adidas cut, that was their alternate in 2014, those would be considered separate. We are going to be using a few websites to allow us to make it a little bit easier and less mental processing, such as like the NHL Uniform database and a few other things that if you play the game with us, I'll just explain it to you then. There's no need for us to tell you exactly what websites we're using. That's just a waste of time. And whenever you come on, you will get to choose between whether you want to play one of us head-to-head, 10-question limit. Only you will be guessing with a 10-question limit, or only you will be guessing with 75-second time limit, unlimited questions. And I believe that's it, right?
Yep, that sounds pretty good. Nope, sounds pretty good. So you guys are going to put on a demonstration, Sean versus Brendan, HJC Guess Who. They have a 10-question limit, and the first person to guess the other person's jersey will win a free HJC sticker, despite you guys already having HJC stickers. So,
although this time it's free.
Free. Sean, we've selected you to go first because you've been here since the dawn of time. So, Sean, go ahead with your first question.
Is your team still around?
Yes. Is your team defunct?
No. Is your team in the Eastern Conference?
No. Is your team in the Western Conference?
Yes. Did your team change its design with the Adidas switch over?
Yes. Is your team in the Central Division?
Yes. Did your team ever wear the CCM 550 jerseys?
I don't know, to be honest.
That's pre-edge, isn't it?
Yes, sorry.
Is that the pre-edge with the curve M, or is that just pre-edge in general?
Pre-edge in general.
Pre-edge CCM in general?
Yes.
I think so. It looks like I see CCM here on one of the pre-edge. So. Oh, my turn.
Yeah.
Right,
question number 4.
Does your team have green in the primary color scheme?
No. Does your team wear a shoulder patch?
Yes. Does your team wear blue at home?
There is blue on the jersey, but it is not the primary color. Has your team ever played outdoors?
No. Did your team change their jerseys with the Adidas switch over?
Yes. Is the jersey you are thinking of made by Reebok?
Yes and no. That wasn't sarcastic. That's actually true. Is your jersey's primary color yellow?
No. Does your team's jersey have their normal primary logo on the front of it?
No. Is your jersey's primary color a shade of blue?
No.
Question number 9 here, Sean.
Is the design of your jersey based on a design from the past?
No.
Question
I'll be
number
honest,
9.
I can't seem to narrow down even your team, but I'm just going to take a wild guess because I don't know what else to possibly guess. So is your jersey the 2001 to 2007 Nashville Predators alternate?
No.
Okay, I'm not going to win this then.
Oh,
All right, Sean, this is your last question.
does your team have that Ben Bishop as their goalie right now?
No.
All right, Brendan, last question.
Is your jersey the Colorado Avalanche original Reebok Edge set?
Shit. No.
All right. So
Awesome.
you've both gone through your 10 questions. Here's your last ditch effort to throw out a wild guess. Sean, do you have a wild guess as to what Brendan's jersey is?
Oh, the worst part is I forgot the conference. Chicago Black.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of wondering to myself if I accidentally thought your team was in the division that they aren't. At this point, I swear to God, this game went better whenever we tested it. I'm sorry, readers. I swear to God, this went better before.
Chicago Blackhawks home?
No.
Womp, womp,
Colorado
womp.
Avalanche 2001 to 7 alternate?
No.
All right, Sean. We have no winner. We will be giving out no stickers.
John, I gotta clear this up. You said your team was in the Central, right?
Yes. You got the team right.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
For a second, I actually thought you picked the same jersey as I did. So, I don't know who's going to go first in revealing this.
So, Sean, go ahead. Reveal what your jersey was to Brendan.
The widely considered mediocre 2015-2016 Colorado Avalanche Stadium Series jersey.
Ooh, that was a good one.
And
Mine was the 2001 to 2007 Nashville Predators Mustard Alternate, which was made by Toho from 2001 to 2004 and Reebok from 2005 to 7.
Oh.
Hence
Very
my yes and no when it comes to being made by Reebok.
well,
I
there you
told you I
go.
wasn't being sarcastic about it.
No, you weren't.
There you go, everybody. There's our demonstration of HJC Guess Who. If you want to be a part of the confusion, send us an email. We'll take all the names that want to enter. We'll choose one lucky person. You have to be available on a Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern to play. You could, as Brendan mentioned, you can choose 3 ways to play: head to head, like we just did, by yourself, 10-question limit, or by yourself with 75-second limit. That was HJC Guess Who with a chance to win a free sticker next week for one super lucky listener. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Throwback Throwdown segment. This is a fast-paced segment where we put 2 old jerseys, throwback jerseys, against each other and choose a winner. And Anaheim is in Los Angeles tonight, so we're going to do that matchup, and we're going to go back to the Anaheim Ducks Wild Wing jersey going up against the Los Angeles Kings Burger King jersey. So you guys are going to have about 10 or 15 seconds to review one jersey at a time. I'll prompt you guys, and then we'll choose a winner of the Throwback Throwdown. Let's start with Sean, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks Wild Wing jersey. Quick thoughts on that.
If you take the fact of the punching duck logo and no hem stripe out, it's not really a bad jersey. The problem is that most of the jersey is taken up by their mascot punching through the ice and an unreadable font. It had potential, but they made it into a literal comic panel.
Brendan, Wild Wing jersey.
I pretty much agree with that. I don't have too much to add. Take away the font, take away the logo, and replace it with, well, I don't know if you want to consider that a logo, but take that away, replace it with an actual logo, and maybe even just make the hem striping consistent with the arms, and it's not that bad.
No, the jersey definitely had potential. I really love the colors, the layout of the yoke and the arm stripes and the hem stripes, or lack of hem stripes, I guess. But yeah, the duck was just way too cartoony, and the font was completely illegible. But definitely a want for my collection. The Los Angeles Kings Burger King jersey now. Sean, quick review on this one.
It's the definition of a weird design choice. The primary logo is probably the best part about the jersey, and on its own, it's fine for the era, but the fact that Wayne Gretzky wore it is something else.
Brendan, the Burger King jersey, thoughts?
This is definitely an interesting design for sure, and if you like something unique despite the look of it, this is a jersey for you. But I'm not a huge fan of the swooping stripes. I think it's like the swooping stripes. I think it could work if done correctly. I don't think it was done correctly here. And again, I think probably the most redeeming part of this is the logo.
Yeah, the logo. This is not a bad logo in my opinion at all. But the swooping sublimated stripes, or the gradient stripes too, are just awful. It was just the Kings trying to make use of this new technology at the time, and it does not work. And neither does the font on the back. So let's pick a winner: the Wild Wing jersey versus the Burger King jersey. Sean, who do you got in this one?
It's the jersey with two different problems. LA's problem is the jersey and the logo's fine. The Ducks' problem is the logo's terrible and the jersey's fine. But you know what? Between the two jerseys, which one had the more potential? The Wild Wing, I think, gets a lot more crap than it really deserves because people are too focused on what you see on the front and not the big picture. This is a jersey that could have worked. The Burger King was just an experiment gone horribly wrong.
All right, Sean's picking the Wild Wing jersey. Brendan, who are you picking?
Well, I think the Burger King jersey was a big case of they were too caught up in whether they could, or they didn't stop and think on whether they should. So I'm going to have to give this one to the Wild Wings because, again, much more potential.
Absolutely, and I'm going to make that score 3-0 for the Wild Wing. Definitely had more potential. With a few tweaks, actually could have been a usable jersey, whereas the Los Angeles Kings Burger King jersey, just pull the logo off there and throw away the rest of the jersey because it's not needed. So this week's winner of the Throwback Throwdown is the Anaheim Mighty Ducks Wild Wing jersey, defeating Los Angeles Kings Burger King jersey 3-0. Now we're going to go around the league. This is a part of the show where we talk about our favorite team and how they've done over the past week. And I'll kick things off with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Did not start the week so great. Well, since we last talked, they did crush the Habs 6-0 in convincing fashion. But the Habs are a tire fire anyway. And then they followed that up with losses to the Arizona Coyotes and the Florida Panthers, although the Florida Panthers wasn't a shootout. And then just last night, they defeated the Carolina Hurricanes 5-4, almost blowing a lead. Team defense has been a problem all year, but they slowly seem to be piecing it together. They're not fantastic, but as long as they can do an average job, the offense should carry them to a decent record this year. Sean, why don't you let us know what's going on with the Jets?
The Jets have won the last 2 or 3. A loss to Nashville. That team is really good. Beating LA 2-1 and then beating Anaheim 4-1. That's pretty good. I don't like either of those teams. Steve Mason has redeemed his numbers. He's currently sitting at a 3.0 GAA and a .907 save percentage, which, considering his first numbers, he's already won most improved student in the class. Concerns for the team: defense, as usual, is good but not great. Offense is fantastic. Connor Hellebuck is amazing. And this is, while Nashville and St. Louis seem to be just a little better, that third spot is going to be pretty comfortable for Winnipeg come playoff time.
And Brendan, how the Penguins doing?
All right, next segment.
It's going that
I
well.
really have to do this. Now, since last Friday's podcast, the Penguins are 0-3, 3 straight losses, and just, boy, I mean, I haven't given up on them yet for the season. I think anybody would be stupid to give up on their entire season at this point and just, throw them out for the entire year. But if they don't turn things around pretty soon, then I wouldn't surprise me if they miss the playoffs somehow. I mean, I never would have expected this at the beginning of the year, but something's not going right. And whether it be a trade or just some sort of coaching adjustment or play adjustment, they need to change something up in order to actually manage to keep their spot in a competitive Eastern Conference and Metro division.
Oh, well, hopefully the Penguins make the playoffs because that's an entertaining team when they do. Always love to see Crosby and Malkin in the playoffs. Not so hot about Phil Kessel, but whatever. He comes with the package. All right, now we're going to move to fake or authentic. And I was thinking about this. If there's a listener out there who really loves the show and wants to contribute, we could really use a catchy theme for the fake or authentic segment. So if you want to, drum up something and send it in, that would be really awesome. We'll totally give you credit every time we play it. So this is fake or authentic. This is where I give a statement and you guys say whether it's going to be a fake statement or an authentic statement. Here we go. Number 1, the Stadium Series will be the best overall outdoor game this season. That means the game, the visuals, the uniform. What do you think, Sean? Fake or authentic?
On 2 out of 3 of those fronts, I'd say authentic. On one of those, I'm not going to say authentic because the Winter Classic jerseys are such a home run. It'd be very hard for any jersey, let alone a Stadium Series jersey, to beat that. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So 67% authentic, 33.3% fake.
And Brendan?
I'm going to say authentic when it comes to the game itself and the teams playing each other, but fake whenever it comes to the uniforms especially. And whenever you say visuals, what exactly are we referring to? The logos or...
what the game looks like as far as the stadium. If you go back to the 2011 game, I mean, it rained in Pittsburgh. So the paint on the ice started coming up. The whole place just looked wet and soggy. I would say the visuals of that game were not fantastic.
Okay, well, the uniforms are definitely fake. The Winter Classic has that covered, unless somehow Adidas and the teams involved do something incredible with the Stadium Series, which isn't really expected considering that the logo already released has caps in it instead of the full team name. Visuals, I'm not really sure. I think it could go either way with some of the other games, but I wouldn't really expect anything catastrophic.
I am certainly looking forward to what the game looks like at the Naval Academy in Annapolis. The uniforms, again, they intrigue me just because it's the Leafs involved. But interesting to see what the Washington Capitals will do when they're just releasing a Caps logo. It's not promising. Let's move on to the next statement. A 2018 alternate jersey will leak before this season is over. Sean, what do you think?
I'm going to say fake because I don't even think teams have started thinking about that. I think now I could be wrong in the event that a team like Ottawa that's rebranding has a leak, because if that leaks, then we're going to see everything. But barring that, I doubt we're going to see anything up until the summer.
Brendan?
I think I'm going to say fake too, because especially Adidas, with the unveiling of all of the jerseys this year, kept everything really well under wraps. The only leak that there was that Oilers jersey, and that was only, a week before the unveiling max. It might not have even been that long before. So if they can manage to handle everything as well as they have, I'm going to say fake. It's not going to leak.
And that Oilers jersey was just a prototype too, not exactly what we saw. But I'd have to agree with you fully there. Number 3, the Adidas collars have grown on me. Fake or authentic, Sean?
I'm going to say authentic. There are teams that it works for. I think it works for Vegas. And that's about all I can think of off the top of my head. But in terms of terrible collar designs, they don't have that same toilet seat effect that other leagues that tried this had a few years ago. Not to name drop another sport that we don't talk about on this. But, they're not as bad as I think that everybody thought they were. But, a team like Vancouver looks absolutely terrible with them.
Good point. Brendan?
I'm going to say authentic, but very slightly, because, we all trashed the Adidas collars pretty bad whenever they first came out. But I know that at the same time we trashed them, we did give them credit where credit was due. And with the teams that it worked, we mentioned that it worked out pretty well, or even if it didn't work, it just wasn't very noticeable. So my opinions haven't really changed much on that. But you also don't notice them too much, like during a game. Like, for example, I'm a Penguins fan, as I'm sure you guys all know, and the Penguins have the half and half collar. But I don't really notice it during a game, unless it's a close-up shot. And even then, sometimes it's hard to notice it because the camera angle at that point might only show half of the color. It still sucks, but it's not very noticeable. So I'm going to say Authentic, that they grew on me a little bit, just in the fact that it's hard to see how terrible they are sometimes.
This statement was fake for me up until Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever the Sabres Winter Classic jerseys came out. And then I saw that Adidas is willing to bend or has some different collar designs up their sleeve. So it's become an authentic statement for me. They've grown on me a little bit, and I'm willing to accept the change. Our final statement: the Rangers have the best Winter Classic sweater this year. We've covered this a little bit at the beginning of the episode, but this is fake or authentic, and there will be no sitting on fences here. Fake or authentic, the Rangers have the best Winter Classic sweater this year. Sean?
Authentic, and it's the second best Winter Classic jersey of all time.
And the best one?
The 2016 Montreal Canadiens.
Oh.
And even you as a Leafs fan liked that jersey.
Sword to the heart. Sword to the heart. Brendan?
I say fake because, as we covered it earlier, I like the Buffalo ones better, and I gave them a higher rating. I mean, we talked about this earlier, and I think Buffalo has, honestly, probably up there as one of the best Winter Classic jerseys in general. I don't know where I'd actually rank it. I think the Rangers are probably somewhere up there, too, with this huge set, but I'd say Buffalo ranks higher than the Rangers.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. So for me, this one's a fake statement because the Buffalo jersey is better than the Rangers jersey only by a hair. But for me, Buffalo's jersey this year isn't better than the 2008 jersey, which was just fantastic. And also because that's my number one want for my jersey collection. But that's neither here nor there. That was fake or authentic. And now we are going to jump into the HJC Mailbag, which you can leave your questions on the side of the blog. There's a form to leave your HJC Mailbag questions, and every podcast we answer them. Mailbag. All right, let's dive right in. The first one comes from Ricky. And Ricky's been vocal in some of the comments about the New Look blog that we've had for the past couple months. He's not a fan, and he wants to know what prompted the need for such a drastic change in the blog. Thanks for the question, Ricky. Well, pretty much we broadened our format. We included news and stories along with our concept posts, so we all agreed that it was time for a new look. Brendan, you were involved heavily in the logo creation. Anything you want to add on why we needed a new look?
I mean, our old look wasn't god-awful, but I would probably say it was maybe a little bit dated and slightly amateur. That's not really like a slight on you, Ryan, at all.
Your statement's very accurate. Very accurate.
Okay, no offense intended, and I'm glad to hear that you echo that statement. But I think that, a refresh was just necessary. The color change wasn't necessary, but we all agreed that we liked this color change, and I think it goes really well with the new format of including other posts than just a daily concept post.
Sean,
and I do think, too, that whenever we initially launched the blog in the first couple of days, the template that we had wasn't amazing. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't amazing. But the one that we currently have, I think, works great, especially the news sticker.
Absolutely. Sean, anything you want to add on the need for a rebrand with hockeyjerseyconcepts.com?
I think we needed it, to be honest with you. This would be my second rebrand in my time on the blog, and that logo had been used about a year less than I had been reading the blog for, and I've been reading the blog for a long time. So I think that I remember back in the days when the whole blog had a cream background to it. So this is the next step, and the first few days were pretty rough. We were trying to get everything to fit and format, and it was tough. We didn't have the news ticker at the time. It was, and the mobile version wasn't working. But that, when your favorite store in town relocates to a different part of town to get bigger space, the first few days are always rough. The first week's rough. You know, they're trying to unpack everything. We unpacked everything. We got the sign up. We're looking good now, I think. And this is something that I think we can stick with for the next little while. And it's the Leafs color scheme. So, I mean, why not?
Unintentionally, the Leafs color scheme. It's just the color scheme we all agreed upon. And I'm the only Leafs fan on the
Don't
block.
listen to him, guys. Free us from Ryan the Dictator.
Okay, all right, sure. Let's move on to another question. Comes in from Burka Circus. He's got his own fake or authentic. So he's going to say fake or authentic. The Blackhawks will wear their normal home jerseys for the 2019 Winter Classic. Sean, you want to step in on this one?
You know what? That's actually a funny question. You know what? They're one more outdoor game away from doing that. This next one isn't it because they can do the 20s throwback.
Yeah, absolutely.
After that, I'm expecting a 2001 or 2003. You know, one of those terrible years with Jocelyn Thibault, Kyle Calder, and Eric Daze in net, playing for them, but with the tan outline around the logo. And then they're going to throw back to the Edge jerseys, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to say fake. But if they get one more, it's an authentic statement.
Brendan?
I'm going to say fake because, especially with Buffalo and the Rangers to lesser a degree, but still the Rangers, they've come out with some pretty authentic looks. Neither of them are direct throwbacks, even though they do bring in throwback elements. Neither of them are direct throwbacks. And if any year was to be the year that Chicago actually brings out something unique, I think it's going to be this next one. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just wore, like Sean mentioned, their red jersey with a tan outline or something either. So I'm going to say fake, but it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being authentic.
I'm looking forward to the Blackhawks possibly wearing black and white 20s throwback next year. That would be absolutely fantastic. Digging deep down into the mailbag here, something that came in earlier in the month. It's from Alex from London, Ontario, and he wants to know, just wanted your opinions on the recent change to less outlandish, more minimalist jersey styles in the past decade that most NHL teams have adopted for their regular and alternate jerseys. Sean, thoughts on more minimalist jerseys?
Sweet. Well, thanks for the question, Alex from London, Ontario, who I don't know. I think that in many ways it's been a good thing. The over-complex mascot logo trend that we had in the 90s and early 2000s was probably a low point in logo design. But at the same time, I feel like in a way we've lost something in terms of teams really going out there with things like gradients and, unique striping designs, putting logos in stripes that are gone in all but throwback elements. On the other hand, you get things like the Dallas Stars rebrand that prove that you can make some really nice stuff with going minimalist.
Brendan, thoughts on minimalist jerseys as opposed to outlandish jerseys?
While I would definitely say I have a love for unique jerseys and definitely appreciate when a team does something unique, I would also call myself a bit of a traditionalist. And whenever I see a traditional design, I always tend to like it a little bit better than something that's more outlandish. So I definitely like the minimalist trend in a sense, but I do think that we lose some of the more unique, the teams stepping out and doing something a bit more unique as opposed to just some sort of rehashed traditional striping pattern or something that doesn't really look as unique to the team. It can definitely be done, but I think we see less of it as opposed to whenever a team has full range to do whatever they want. Like the Burger King. I mean, we didn't like the jersey, but again, you can't say it wasn't unique.
Yeah, absolutely. They went out there and they tried something. It failed, but you got to applaud going out there and trying something. Let's go to our last question here. Free to anyone to answer this one. Is a hot dog a sandwich? John?
Full. I'm going to say fake because as someone who was at a Leafs game in 2008 with Vesatoskala in net after some inordinate amount of goals given up from center ice, I went down to the concourse to go get a Berkey's Doghouse dog. And after my father spent an exuberant amount of money on a mediocre hot dog,
$12.
I decided then that it could never be a sandwich, as you don't have to pay what at the time was probably around $30 for 2 sandwiches.
Brendan, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Boy, I was not expecting that kind of answer from you. I was expecting mine to be a little bit extravagant. I actually have a theory on this because this is a pretty bit of a meme question on Twitter. My theory is that whenever you get a hot dog bun, it's together on the bottom, right? So by definition, a sandwich is 2 pieces of bread with stuff in between it, to keep it simple. So if the hot dog is together in one piece, or the bun is together in one piece, not a sandwich. If that splits on the bottom, or if you're using 2 separate pieces of bread for some reason, it is a sandwich.
What about a meatball sub? What about a meatball sub?
Oh.
Sandwich?
I would probably have to mirror the exact same thing. If there's a bun that's not split on the bottom, not a sandwich. Not a sandwich. If it's split, sandwich.
It certainly is a gray area, and we'd love to hear everyone's comments on whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich, and maybe include a comment in there about the meatball sub based on Brendan's definition of what a sandwich is. That's our episode for this week. We'd really like to thank everyone for listening, and of course, Sean, Brendan, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me.
It's always great to
having me.
Excellent. We also have the shirts and stickers on sale, the Jersey Casual shirts and the HJC stickers on sale. You can go to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. There's a tab at the top called Shop. Click there, and you'll find links to buy both those cool products. Help us out. Support the blog. Get your Jersey Casual t-shirts. Get your HJC stickers. Get in on the conversation that we've had. Leave some comments. And also give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and that really helps spread the word about the podcast. And be sure to subscribe to our channel to get notified whenever the podcast goes up. As I said, Sean, Brendan, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys next week.